And now I'd like to turn to Rudolph Michalka, who is the Special Representative of the OSCE Chairman in Office for the South Caucasus.
Well, very good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to beautiful historical Oxford and this beautiful St. Anthony's College. It's a privilege and a pleasure altogether. And thanks to Dame Audrey Glover for chairing the meeting and for a wonderful chat we had yesterday. I really appreciate. I thank to my two colleagues, Jihan Sultanoglu and Tevoklar, for who took the floor before me. Well, let me assure you that we are working closely together as a team, and it is a pleasure to be here today jointly, just a few days before our annual presentation at the OSCE Permanent Council in Vienna. I was nominated by the Italian chairperson in office as the OSCE Special Rep for South Caucasus at the beginning of September. So I've been working in this new capacity for more than 2 months. Before I was posted in Tbilisi as a Slovak ambassador for 4 years, so I can say I was not entirely new to the region and the context, whereas my current role includes taking broader considerations and the positions of the OSCE participating states into account. That's slightly different than the bilateral relations, so I'm adjusting to that. The last 2 months, we have been quite busy, and they've been quite intense and eventful, rich of inputs and ideas, but they were also characterized by challenging moments. The OSCE follows a comprehensive security concept, and this organization houses valuable knowledge, which is also highly relevant for the South Caucasus. This year, under the Italian chairmanship, a lot of attention was paid to this region, and besides the weekly discussions in Vienna concerning security questions and conflicts, we saw also some high-level visits to the regions. As a special representative of OSCE for South Caucasus, as you might be already aware, the main part of the job is dedicated to the conflict in Georgia. In this position, I take responsibility as co-chair of the Geneva International Discussions, just like my two colleagues here, and also a co-facilitator of the IPRM, the Incident and Prevention and Response Mechanism in Ergneti. That's on the administration boundary line with South Ossetia, jointly with the head of UMM, with whom I enjoy very close cooperation as well. Continuity, despite the annually changing chairmanships, is key here. And so I am glad to have started my engagement under Italian flag and will continue in 2018 under the Slovak chairmanship as well. The major result of discussions following the end of armed hostilities in 2008 is a significant degree of stability in the region. Discussions, peace and more security for local populations, they contribute to keeping this momentum and provide a platform for discussing important security and humanitarian issues. Yet the situation is far from satisfactory. Also within their framework, we continue to address some of the most controversial issues, some of which have been on the table since the beginning of the talks in Geneva. But the participating sides are engaged in talking to each other, and we do our best to facilitate these exchanges. My fellow co-chairs have already tackled a number of issues of concern. While the discussions continue, the population of both sides of the ABL continues to be affected by severe challenges and obstacles when it comes to education, access to water, as well as proper health care. Communities have been divided, and it's often difficult for people to visit each other, friends, relatives, on the other side of the ABL. Recently, we also observed cases of abductions and tragic death cases. We continue to stress the need to conduct proper investigations into, and cannot stop to emphasize that any perception of impunity should be avoided. Documentation in the Abkhaz and South Ossetian theaters is becoming more and more challenging issue. Clearly, not enough has been done to find solutions to facilitate freedom of movement. Where there are joint problems like posed by pests that destroy important cultural plants and crops, we could also facilitate joint research for solutions. As in the past 2 years, the OSCE chairmanship, together with the EU, for instance, supported an expert workshop with participants from Eastern Black Sea region to jointly discuss ways to deal with increasingly worrying environmental threats. Insects know no borders and dividing line, as you may imagine. The already mentioned IPRMs, those meetings at the ABL, established to bring practical solutions to daily issues affecting the population on the ground. The IPRMs are facing some temporary challenges. It is my belief, and what we put our efforts as mediators in, that the IPRMs in Ergneti will resume soon. Everybody recognizes its importance and acknowledges its crucial role, but its interruption showed once again the fragility of the format against the backdrop of a certain degree of polarization and a tough political context. Despite all the issues highlighted, we clearly sense that every participant is strongly committed to the format, and it was shown during several occasions that there is a willingness to continue the work in Geneva and on the ground. The OSCE remains fully committed to accompany and contribute to all related processes. The dedication and attitude of the co-chairs and the organizations we represent are important, but cannot replace the sincere willingness of the participants to advance their interaction and commitment to achieve tangible results. As mentioned before, my mandate covers the whole region of the South Caucasus, including Armenia and Azerbaijan. And here I am on standby for any task of the chairmanship, and in particular to support the efforts already taken when it comes to the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. The chairmanship here is fully engaged via its personal representative, Ambassador Kaspchik, with whom I am in regular contact. He and his team play an important role in facilitating communication, supporting humanitarian operations, and in conducting regular monitoring exercises, which is all aimed at strengthening confidence. The Italian chairmanship and the chairperson in office, Foreign Minister Moavero, have paid a lot of attention to this conflict and fully supported the efforts of the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs. I can assure you that also this conflict will receive due attention in 2019. Developments in one part of the South Caucasus always have an impact on the rest of the region and sometimes also attract the world's attention. This was certainly the case also this year with the remarkable changes in Armenia. Recently, I had the possibility to make my first official visit both to Yerevan and Baku, and we indeed hope for the security situation on the line of contact and state borders to remain stable and the negotiations to gain a new pace. I am therefore looking forward to participating in this important forum today to listen to the viewpoints of distinguished analysts and experts. Let me therefore again thank the organizers, in particular Denis Samut and Lynx, for their steadfast commitment in their field of work. We need input and ideas from civil society, and it is our aim and interest to have such kind of exchange where possible and feasible. This I conclude my remarks and will be happy to also answer any of your questions if possible. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Rudolph. Thank all of you very much indeed.